The ECG analysis module is an add-on to LabScribe software. Here is a mouse ECG data file that has been previously recorded. To open the module, select Advanced, ECG Analysis, and Offline Calculations. At the top of the screen, the raw ECG signal is shown. In the Channels tab, we can select the ECG channel we want to view. Here, I'll select Lead 1. Next, select the data range. We can choose from Selection, which is the data between the two blue cursors, Current Block, which is the time from the start of the recording to the end of the recording, or the complete file. The blue cursors can also be adjusted at the top of the screen by clicking and dragging each one. Next, we will go into the Settings tab. Here, we set the parameters the software will use to perform analysis. We can load a preset. Since we are working with a mouse ECG, I will select Mouse. From there, we can modify the average number of cycles that the software will group together, typical QRS width, pre-P baseline, maximum PR, minimum RT, maximum RT, cycle duration, QTC type, the time period the software will use to measure ST elevation after QRS, location of isoelectric line. Here we will select mean of pre-P points only. This means the software will use the points preceding the P wave to set the isoelectric line. For some species, such as zebrafish, the P wave may be larger than the R wave. There is also an option to select for an inverted T wave. If there is noise or the data is not settled at the beginning of the file, you can tell the software to ignore a certain number of seconds. Adjusting the cycle detection threshold sensitivity number to higher numbers will lower the threshold at which a cycle is detected. Start at a low value. You will be able to adjust this later if you discover that cycles are being missed in the analysis. The derivative can be used as part of the detection algorithms. Choose how much the derivative should be smoothed. When all parameters are set, click the Calculate button just above the data table to start the analysis. At the top of the screen, we can see that some cycles were missed in analysis. I will increase the cycle detection threshold sensitivity to 3. I can also see the cycle duration is slightly long. Here, I will decrease the cycle duration to 200 milliseconds. Anytime any parameters are changed, make sure to click the Calculate button again. Now we can see that these cycles are now included in the analysis. The ECG graph appears in the graph window at the right, and the data table will be populated with values. A group of cycles is displayed at a time. The number of cycles displayed is determined by the number entered in the average box of the settings dialog. The group being displayed is indicated in the group window, and the individual cycles in that group are indicated in the Cycles in Group window. The up and down arrows on the computer keyboard can be used to move quickly through the individual groups or cycles. In the graph, the currently selected cycle is in black, and the average of the group is in red. Any others are in gray. The calculated values displayed in the data table are the averages of each group. We can adjust the scaling by dragging on each axis. Next, we can go into the Artifact Removal tab. Here, we can adjust the rate, R amplitude, activity, noise, minimum, P amplitude, T amplitude, and delta RR. We can also select the parameters we want to plot against each other on the graph. If we plot that out, the dots show each cycle. If we want to remove outliers, we can adjust the bucks, hit Calculate, and the outliers are now red and not included in the analysis. They will now show up in the Outliers tab. We can also manually adjustments using the check mark to the left of each cycle. Under the Detection Algorithms tab, we can do finer tuning. We now go over and choose View ECG Graph from the Graph Display arrow. We can drag the blue cursors to adjust the end and the beginning of the P wave. Then we will select Get to get the parameters, hit Calculate, and each group utilizes that change. Bringing up our calculations table, here are all the calculations for all the different groups and cycles. We can copy them, export them, look at the algorithms, which display definitions for each parameter in the software. We can go into table options to select which columns we want to show in the data table, and we can also load and save templates. If there is a particular cycle we are interested in, we can click the Sync button, and it will go into the recording where that cycle is located. We can also export average data from the graph, save it out, and it can be imported into a spreadsheet for specialized analysis.